What's going on? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Jordan Syatt. I'm a strength coach, I'm a nutrition coach, and in this video, I'm going to review what Jennifer Garner eats in a day. Now, I've analyzed nutrition and strength training for other people, whether it was Matt Rife, Mark Wahlberg, Jake Gyllenhaal, a Victoria's Secret model. I've done this and I've gotten some very good feedback, so if you want to watch the other videos I've done, you're more than welcome to. In this video, I'm going to look at what Jennifer Garner says she's eating in a day. Real quick, before I hit play on this video and we start analyzing her nutrition, if you need help figuring out how many calories you need to eat in order to lose fat sustainably, I have a free calorie calculator. If you want to get access to the free calorie calculator, the link is in the description. Once you sign up, I will send it directly to your inbox so you can figure out how many calories to eat so you can lose fat sustainably and enjoyably. Now, let's see what Jennifer Garner eats in a day.
This is Jennifer Garner, and here we are talking about everything I eat in a day. So my regular breakfast is coffee and more coffee. I take my coffee black with sometimes an almond milk cappuccino.
So I know some people are gonna freak out and be like, oh my God, she's only having coffee for breakfast. She's not actually eating anything. She's gonna destroy her metabolism. And then other people are gonna be like, that's the right way to do it. It's intermittent fasting. You don't eat breakfast. This is what our ancestors do. The point is this, it honestly doesn't matter whether you eat breakfast or not, especially when it comes to overall fat loss and body composition. The most important thing is your total calories at the end of the day. I'm not saying that food quality doesn't matter. I'm not saying that food timing doesn't matter. Obviously, all of that plays a role in your overall health and well-being. But the most important part is your total calorie intake and if what you're doing is sustainable for you. If Jennifer isn't hungry for breakfast and she would rather just have coffee, that's totally fine. I would rather her follow what her body feels like rather than trying to force something on herself that isn't going to be able to be sustainable down the road. So if you're the kind of person who loves breakfast, cool, eat breakfast. If you're the kind of person that wakes up and you're not really hungry for breakfast, cool, don't eat breakfast. Either way, it's totally fine.
Usually these days I'll have one breakfast that I get really fixated on for a few years. Right now it is a full-fat yogurt and berries and nuts.
She actually said something very important there. I'll discuss the full-fat berries, yogurt, and nuts in a second, which is great, but she said she gets one breakfast that she gets fixated on for a few years, which a few years is pretty crazy, but it's not a bad thing. If we look at the research and what the research tells us the most successful dieters do over a long period of time is they eat the same foods on a very consistent basis. The people who struggle to maintain a healthy body weight are people who are often eating different things on a very regular basis. When you eat the same things over and over and over again, it's much easier to keep track of your weight and keep track of how many calories you're eating. So the fact that she does this speaks volumes of whether or not this is learned or intuitive to her. It's just a very good habit to have a handful of meals that you cycle through over and over and over again. You don't need to just have one, but a handful that you stick to on a regular basis. I love how she also mentioned she explicitly eats the higher fat yogurt option. A lot of people still crazily enough believe that eating fat makes you fat, which is just not the case at all. You're more than welcome to choose the lower fat options. Lower fat, higher fat, they're both great. Just have whichever one you prefer and make sure it fits within your overall calories. She's getting high quality fats, she's getting high quality protein, and she's also getting some more fats from the nuts she puts in there and some great nutrients from the berries as well. It's really a wonderful breakfast.
Truly one of my favorite snacks is Once Upon a Farm, and it is the best thing to eat on the go.
I didn't know this. I was having a look at this before we started filming, and my wife was just watching over my shoulder because she was like, oh, I want to see what Jennifer Garner eats. And my wife mentioned, oh, that's her company, Once Upon a Farm. Because I looked at it and Mitch behind the camera looked at it and we were like, isn't that baby food that she's eating? Which I believe it was originally a baby food company, but also we looked it up and it is Jennifer Garner's company. For whatever it's worth, it does not take away any validity to this video. It doesn't take away any validity to what she does or what she eats, but that was a pretty clear product placement for her in this video, which has done very well and many people have seen it. Personally, I would have liked to hear her say, by the way, this is my company, just because I think that would have been nice if she was forthright with it. There's nothing wrong with the food, like I looked it up and it's fine, but it's baby food. Like that is baby food. And so if you want to have that as a snack, go for it. It's fucking baby food. We're just gonna leave that there.
Have an apple. You know, if I'm going to be out, I prefer to have it cut up. Otherwise, if you have lipstick on, it's a disaster. So I cut it up and then I put it back together like a puzzle and I stick it in my bag and have it later. But an apple and peanut butter, I would say, is my #1 snack.
Love that. Apple, peanut butter, can't go wrong. At this point in the day, I would like to see her having a little bit more protein. It seems like she's getting very high quality fats. She's getting very nutritious foods, which I love. It's fantastic. I would just love to see maybe a little bit more protein thus far. Not bad. A lot of people think peanut butter has a lot of protein. It doesn't. Peanut butter has a lot of fat and a lot of calories, and there can be many benefits to peanut butter, but it does not have a lot of protein. So just keep that in mind.
A typical lunch is a big arugula salad, some dark greens, ingredients. It's chopped up veggies, whatever is fresh in the garden, broccoli, cauliflower, green beans, sugar snap peas, peppers, anything, cheese, nuts, sweet potato, or a little bit of brown rice.
Okay, so that's great. I like that she's saying she has a salad for a typical lunch. I try and have a salad every single day. If you follow me on Instagram, if you don't, you can do that right here. But you know, I try and have at least one big ass salad every day in my inner circle. My wife put together a whole big ass salad menu with all of our favorite salads that we have here with our favorite dressings, toppings, and salads. If you want to get access to that, join the inner circle, link in the description. Again, I would like to see more protein. So she said she'll put nuts and cheese on the salad, which again are very good quality sources of fats. She's not having much protein, and it would be very easy for her for this salad, just top it with some protein. If she eats meat, she could do it with chicken, she could do it with turkey, she could do it with steak, she does it with seafood, she could do it with shrimp, she could do it with salmon. If she's vegan or vegetarian, she could do tofu or tempeh, she could use black beans. There's many options that she could do easily just to add on top of that very quickly, get a little bit more protein in there. Overall, this is still, I would say, like B plus A minus so far, super good, just lacking a little bit on protein.
I do not consider myself a good cook or baker, and I do not have the gift of making anything cute. That's why I always say I'm not a pretty baker, but I do like to cook and bake for people I love, especially for my kids. It's a gift of being a mom that you get to train your kids' palate to your own food.
This has nothing to do with nutrition. She just has a great personality. Like, she's very good on camera. I'm jealous of how good she is on camera. She just seems very wonderful and sweet, and I don't know her. I've never spoken to her. She just seems very sweet and wonderful and genuine.
I lean heavily on Barefoot Contessa. I love her recipes. Honey white bread, you can count on her. Beef bourguignon, her roast chicken, obviously. It's a classic.
What I like about this, these aren't necessarily things that she's eating on a day-to-day basis. These are just some of her recipes that she likes, whether it's the bread, whether it's the beef, whether it's the chicken, which now I'm loving seeing more protein in there. Overall, we can start to see a very well-balanced diet, right? So for the bread, she's having carbs, she's having beef, she's having chicken, she's having salad, she's having fruits, she's having fats. What we're really seeing here is a very well-balanced diet. She has a little bit from everything. She's not demonizing carbs. She's not, oh my God, I never have carbs. She eats the bread. I never have fat. She eats the higher fat options. Looks like she eats everything. I'm excited to see what she says in terms of desserts a little bit later on. Obviously, I've watched this video, so I know what it's gonna say. Either way, at this point, it's very clear that not only is she eating a very well-balanced nutritional profile, but also her relationship with food seems to be very good thus far, and that nothing is demonized. There's nothing bad or off limits, which I really love.
I'm a big Pizzana person. I love Pizzana in LA, and I've been friends with Daniele forever, so I'm so happy for him.
This is fantastic. Here she is, one of the most famous women in the world, clearly in very good physical shape. She's eating pizza, and she enjoys it, and she's talking about it. This is where a lot of people who might struggle with their weight be like, oh, that's so unfair. I don't get why she can eat that, but I can't eat that. What we're not seeing here is the portions she eats it in. And this is really where people often get caught up and be like, oh my God, I eat one slice of that and I get fat, but you can have the pizza and nothing happens to you. I bet that if we looked at the portions that she's eating, she's not eating as much as most people who struggle with their weight are. So keep that in mind. It's important not to demonize it, but it's also important not to go overboard and eat huge quantities of it all the time, because that's where we get into issues. Either end of the extreme is the problem. Moderation is where success lies.
And what I love is to take a piece of my kid's pizza and to take that salad, and I love salad on top of pizza. Do you think that's weird? And I put it on as much as I possibly can, and then I fold it up. That is my favorite. It's better with a glass of wine, to be honest.
I love that. She has more to say on alcohol in a second. I do love the moderation. I do love the discussion around being able to have a glass of wine, not a bottle of wine, but having a glass of wine. I like her humor, and I also, again, just like nothing is completely off limits mentality.
Honestly, I've been over the last couple of years since we came out of the pandemic, where we were all enjoying a little bit more than usual. I think the more that comes out about alcohol, the more I'm just re-examining my own relationship with alcohol. And the older I get, the more I want to protect my brain. I've always never been somebody to drink more than a glass, but I did have a glass pretty regularly, and now I've just been stripping those away.
What a wonderful clip that was. First, I'll start by saying I drink several nights a week. I'll have a drink of some tequila, or I'll have some whiskey, or I'll have some beers. I'm not drinking a lot. I might have like 4 to 6 drinks throughout the week. I drink, and I think think it's important for me to clarify that even as a health coach, I still do that. What she's explaining here is really wonderful. And number one, the objectivity of her examining her own relationship with something. This is something we can all do better, myself included, where, okay, you have this belief, new research comes out, new beliefs come out, new methodologies come out, and you say, I need to re-examine my current relationship with what I currently do with my current behavior. She didn't say she just stopped drinking alcohol altogether. She said she was having a glass like almost nightly or very, very often, and now she's starting to slowly take them away, but she still has a glass here and there. It's a really wonderful way to go about it. Rather than going cold turkey and saying I'm never drinking alcohol again, she's saying I'm just drinking a little bit less than I was before, especially as new research emerges. And the truth is this, again, remember I say I drink several nights a week. There are no health benefits of alcohol. There are none. Regardless of whatever cockamamie thing or whatever like article or clickbait headline you're gonna see, alcohol is a legitimate toxin. It is dangerous. There are no health benefits to it. That doesn't mean you can't incorporate it in moderation as long as you have a healthy relationship with it. But even as someone who drinks, I'm not gonna play any mental gymnastics. The truth is, it is not healthy for you. Period. It's important to have a more moderate mindset around it. And also, obviously, if you struggle with alcoholism, don't be listening to anything I say. This isn't for alcoholics. This is for people who are not actively struggling with alcohol.
And there are definitely things that I don't like. I really don't like olives. Please don't bring them over.
Okay, that is insane. I very much believe that people who say they don't like olives just haven't had good olives. I lived in Israel for many years. A lot of the olives in the United States, a lot of the mainstream olives, they're gross. They suck. Go to a great Mediterranean restaurant and ask for olives there. Most olives, if you're just getting black olives, please don't say you don't like olives. There are so many different types of amazing olives, and obviously maybe she has tried them. I'm sure she's very well traveled. Maybe she doesn't like olives. I personally think not only are olives delicious, I actually think they're one of the greatest health foods of all time. Whether we're looking at olive oil or looking at olives, they're super high quality fat. They offer numerous health benefits. If you don't like them, you don't have to eat them, but I think that they're like one of the greatest superfoods ever.
The thing that I can't resist if it's in my house, so it must not be in my house, is I learned how to make homemade magic shell. You know, the chocolate that hardens over ice cream. And when you make it yourself, you can titrate how much milk chocolate you want versus dark chocolate. I can't handle it. If it's in my house, I'm having a bowl of ice cream with magic shell.
You know, this is great. I really like that she spoke about this and ended with this. She's not saying she doesn't eat it. She's saying she doesn't keep it in her house, which is a really important distinction to make. She obviously eats it. She knows how to make it. She's done it. It appears as though on a regular basis, she will not keep it in her house because she knows herself and she's objectively aware that if it's in the house, she's gonna make large quantities of it and she's probably gonna eat it very, very quickly, which would not be good from a health perspective, from many different perspectives. This is something to keep in mind where you can actively choose not to keep something in your house and still have a good relationship with it. You could say, you know what, if I have ice cream in the house, I'm gonna eat the whole pint or I'm gonna eat the whole quart, whatever it is, so I'm just not gonna keep it in the house and save it for more special occasions. Or if on a special occasion you want to bring it into the house, great. And you can have it when it's there. But it is something to keep in mind where just because you don't keep it in the house doesn't mean it's off limits, doesn't mean that it's bad, doesn't mean that you're not allowed to have it. It just means you know yourself and maybe at this point in your life, you shouldn't have it in your house. So yeah, this is overall, it's a really wonderful video. I'm a bigger fan of Jennifer Garner now than I was before I watched the video. She seems very sweet, very kind, very open, very genuine. Overall, I'd say her nutrition, I'm gonna bump it up, I'm gonna say it's an A-. I'm gonna bump it up to an A-, which is very, very good. The only thing that I would do to make it better is add a little bit more protein throughout breakfast and through lunch. Because it looks like through dinner, she's getting plenty of protein. Add a little bit more protein. Other than that, she's killing it. She's getting fiber. It looks like her calories are in check. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, please leave them below. Hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you don't already. And if you'd like access to my free calorie calculator so you know exactly how many calories you should eat in order to lose fat, click the link in the description. Have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you soon.